Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. Wanted to get out here and do another video. There's no wind, so I'm able to, and I found a little quiet space. So I'm able to do this without all the wind noise that's been hitting some of those past videos. Um, so I wanted to talk today a little bit about raising your vibration. I've talked about that a bit in other videos, and how it's important for our own healing, for helping others heal, for helping the world heal. Um, but didn't really ever talk about like how you do it. And I think it's one of those things where, everyone's journey to raising their vibration, to healing, to processing the things that they need to process is going to look a lot different. Because everyone's, circumstances are different. The things that they have to overcome are different. The challenges they face, everyone's recipe is different. You know what I mean? So it's not something that really anybody can tell you exactly how to do. It's just more of a, you just kind of look at it's a roadmap, basically. You look at how other people have done it and you take what fits for you and you leave the rest. But, there's some common stuff. And I think there's some things I can, share from my own experiences that I think can help. Because, I talk about raising vibration, but like anybody who knows me, knows that I have spent big chunks of my life in fairly low vibrational spaces. You know, Came from a background where all this stuff was not really discussed. Wasn't a particularly religious family. Not that religion is necessarily the pathway, but um, I really had to kind of find my own way, and find my own way out of some spaces that were not high vibration. I'm sure there's some people in my past who look at these videos, look at me now, and are like, "Who is this guy?" And that's okay, because that's part of it. I think it's okay to be in those spaces. It's okay to be young. It's okay to go have fun. Like learn some lessons. You gotta f up a little bit sometimes to figure out how to do better. I had a lot of fun in some of those spaces. But you kind of reach a point where it's just not as fun. It starts to be a little more forced, and you start to see through some of the facades, some of the glamour, some of the things that the shiny objects. And you start to see behind that, start to see things for what they really are. And then you have a choice. Do you stay in that space because it's comfortable, because you made friends, or do you challenge yourself and trust that maybe there's a better space that you can find that isn't going to require you to stay at a certain level, at a certain vibration, and challenge yourself to move on and find a new crowd, a new space, a new vibration. That's the choice we all have to make, and I think a lot of people choose to stay in the comfort, because it's familiar, and I get it. It's not a judgment. It's just it's not how you grow. It's not how you raise your vibration. Staying in those spaces, you do that through challenging yourself by realizing that, oh, I've gotten pretty much everything I can get out of this, and now it's time to move on and try something new. So that's part of it. And there's lessons in each of those spaces too. I mean, you find friends and you find fun, but you also find challenges, right? People who are not your friends, things that are not so fun. And it teaches you how to deal with people like that, with situations like that. And it kind of comes a time where you've learned that lesson, and you just need to move on, and go find something, the next thing in your life, the next lesson, more friends, more fun, but also more challenges, and, people who are going to challenge you in different ways. And so you get to the point where, certain challenges aren't challenges anymore. You've kind of mastered them. I mean, it's not like they won't come up, but you just know how to handle them. So yeah, you it's your choice. But that's how you raise your vibration, is you get in those spaces, you learn those lessons, and then you move on. to stay there. And people will want you to stay there. That's part of it too, is like the people who are in those spaces and aren't moving on, who are choosing comfort over growth. They're not going to want to see you grow. They're going to feel threatened by that. Because it's, maybe they saw themselves as better than you, or, more advanced or whatever, and if you're growing and they're not, that's not going to continue to be true. Right. And that challenges them, that threatens them. But that's not your burden to bear. That's their journey. You got to take care of yourself, and not worry about other people's opinions. And if that means leaving people behind, well, that just clears space for, the people that are supposed to come in your new spaces, in your new vibration, in your new life, whatever, you know what I mean? That's how you grow. That's how you continue to raise your vibration. It's not, you shouldn't judge yourself. You shouldn't be hard on yourself for, wherever you're at. None of us are perfect. We all have to learn. We all have to do it our own way, at our own pace, facing our own challenges. And, that's how the journey works. So, if you want to raise your vibration, that's kind of how you do it. And it's not always easy. You have to leave people behind sometimes, the people who are threatened by your growth. You have to leave spaces that are familiar and have traditionally been fun for you. You have to leave those spaces behind sometimes. It's not like you can't ever go back, but it's just not the same. Once you kind of reach a certain point, you've seen the things and learned the lessons. It's just not the same. And it's time for new things. And that can be hard and can feel, like loss. And sometimes it is, very much. But that's okay, because when, like the forest burns, that creates space for new growth, for new life. It's a cycle, just like our lives are a cycle. And that's how you move through it. You learn those lessons, you get out of those spaces, go find new ones, learn new lessons, new challenges, but also new friends and new fun and new, adventures and whatever, So, I just wanted to kind of share that, because we talk about raising vibration, and it is important. It is very important, I think, for all of us to start doing that. We've been stagnant, I think, too long, and there are people who want to keep us there. So I think it's important that we start to, really make that collective effort to raise our vibration and grow. But sharing how to do it on an individual level seemed really pretty important. And so that was the message for today. So hopefully this helped. Like I said, everyone's journey is different. Everyone's path is different. Everyone's challenges are different. There's no right way to do it. I mean, you just kind of have to listen to your own inner voice and the voice that you're getting from above, maybe, your intuition, your discernment, and decide, like who are the people who are ready to grow with me, who I can keep in my life. What are the spaces that I can continue to stay in, that aren't hindering my growth. Those are all individual choices. So hopefully this helped you make your own individual choices, as you go forward and better understand, how I did it, how other people are doing it, how you can do it. So that's it. So anyway, have an awesome day, and hopefully all you're good, and love y'all. All right, take care. Bye.